Hi everyone, Inclusive Designs here, and this is part 11 of the Tamiya 1/32 scale F-16 Fighting Falcon build. So since part 10, a lot has changed. As you can see, we have now introduced the diorama portion to the build series, as well as the plane itself is about 98% complete. We just have a few little parts to go on here and there, as well as the decaling needs to be done, but the decals have not come in the mail yet. So we're just waiting for those to come in, and once they do, we'll start that process. But as I'm sure a lot of you are, waiting to hear what I have to say about the diorama itself, so let's just get right into it. So a lot of you know I do plan to have the engine on the outside of the plane, which obviously, if you're not too familiar with the plane model itself, the engine can be posed with the engine inside or outside of the plane. Now, when I say the plane itself, the build of the plane is 98% complete. I'm obviously not taking into consideration the engine itself. So the plane build itself is 98% complete minus the engine. So anyway, the engine still needs to be built, but that's going to be coming. I consider that part of the diorama. Let's just put it in that category. So the plane is pretty much complete, but the engine still needs to be built, and I'm considering that again part of the diorama. But anyway, the engine is going to be going in the back here somewhere on a dolly with some airman figures working on it, and again the airman figures I'm going to be talking about in a minute. But because the model allows you to have the panels open for the Vulcan cannon, I decided to opt for that option, obviously. And then when I originally bought these aftermarket metal barrels and I was going to stick them in here, but because of fit issues, it didn't work out. So I ended up using the kit ones, and I didn't want to just throw these away. So I thought, you know what, let's have it looking like the weapon is undergoing some kind of maintenance, right? So I made this tarp here. This is just blue paper towel that I spray painted in metallic blue and then clear coated it with pearl clear. And ended up making this tarp, to obviously simulate, a workspace, right? And then I bought this work chest right here, this tool kit, and then of course put some water bottles on it, and then put some decals on it, which I'll show you right here. Just some, whatever kind of decals on it, just to make it look a little more authentic. And then some crew figures and some other, things will go on top of it as we go, just to make it look more real, I guess you can say. Now, I do have the 1/32 scale F-16 from Academy, and depends on how I want to display that. If I put that one on a stand, I might take that ammo drum from that kit and, put it here, because if this is undergoing some kind of weapons change, I might have that here just to add more to my diorama. I was originally thinking maybe I should just cut this and put it in here, but I opted not to do that. So not only do we have the engine being changed out on this aircraft, we have this weapon being changed. So, more fun, something more to look at. And since the last video too, we have this crew ladder that we've now built. And then of course I just slapped some decals on it. That doesn't come with the plane. I just more to add, right? And then we've now added the canopy to the plane. Now this canopy, like all 1/32 scale kits for some reason, and some 1/48 scale kits, have that seam line that goes right down the middle. Now I did manage to sand that off. And the kit that I bought was this one right here from Revell. This Revell Monogram Finishing Products kit. I don't know, that's not really, that's too small to read. But if you find that kit right there, it's a bunch of little tools, a sanding and polishing kit right there. That kit, I guess you can call it, was enough to get that line completely out. It comes with like a sponge and a rag and some sanding cloths and stuff, but it completely, within, I would say, half an hour of working with it, got that seam line gone and polished that canopy right up. And just so you know what I'm talking about, that seam line. I don't know if the camera will show it. See that seam line? Now this is the alternate canopy I could have used. This one here is tinted. I don't know if you can tell. This one here is a slight tint. So this model kit here comes with two canopies. You know, this slight tint or this like clear one. But anyway, the point is, see that seam line? Gone. Now you do have to be gentle with it. I mean, you can't just sit there and scrub. And there are some tutorials you can, you know, look at online. Now I know I'm switching back and forth between the diorama and the plane, but I'm just there's so much I've worked on. I don't want to lose focus. Now with the canopy too, if you are doing the tinted, the back window is not tinted. Just keep that in mind. So anyway, I didn't want to forget that. Okay, now going back to the diorama. This here is just MDF board that I cut into a circle. Now this is fairly big, like here's my hand. So it's a fairly big piece, and then I just used a khaki color to spray it originally, and then weathered it, and then I used my Optolong UN faded white, and then mixed it with a bunch of different colors, just whatever I could get it to get to that concrete look. And then I used sand and other natural, or like actual went to the park and rubbed this thing in sand, because this plane here I believe is going to be the tail code. I believe I'm going to use CC, which is New Mexico, and so this will be like in New Mexico. So I'm going for that kind of look. So I'm going to try, I do have this on my little cake spinner, so let's just take a little spin around. Now I do have the wheel chocks down there. Those do come with the model itself. And as you can see, I have the engine parts. I'm going to do my best to spin this. I got the back engine parts sitting right there. And that's going to be more, again, that's going to be more accurate too, right? Because when the engine comes out, those pieces would be off to the side. As you can see, the tail hook is down. When they change out the engine, that tail hook would be down. Some other tools, like I said, would be sitting on here. I plan to have a helmet, a fighter pilot helmet, sitting right here. The air brake system, that wasn't on the last video, but the air brake system is open. Again, just to give it more detail. There we go, I'm looking in the back of the plane. As you can see, there's the wheel chocks there. So it's really starting to take shape now, this the whole model and diorama scene. Light still needs to go on right there, not a real light, the fake light. So there's a few little parts, you know, here and there that I got to put on. I just, again, I've been going back and forth between the diorama and the model. And see, right about here, I'm going to have the engine either, you know, this way or this way, depending on how long it is. But I might even have it just this way, like they've already taken it out and they're, you know, starting to move it away, or whichever. Otherwise, this thing would get too big if I were to have it like they're still pulling it out. This diorama would just get too big. So even if it was, you know, the engine was like this way, like they're pulling it away, is good enough. Because I want to still be able to see inside there, right? As long as you get the idea that this plane is undergoing maintenance, that's what I'm happy with. Another cool thing about having the Academy 1/32 scale F-16 is it comes with a pilot too. I can have standing on the outside of the plane. That's not getting ready for flight, and you know, obviously this plane is not ready for flight. There's the wheel chocks down there on that side. So getting rid of that seam line is uber important. Otherwise, especially for the F-16 canopy. I know the F-14 canopy, there is a line that kind of goes halfway down that's supposed to be there, so you can kind of get away with it. But for a cockpit canopy like the F-16, there's no lines. And the crew ladder can be taken on and off as at will too. So there we go. So that's the start of it anyway, the start of the diorama. And, you know, we'll start getting into the crew figures here soon. And once we get the decals on and the last of the, the little bits on, we'll start working on the engine and, getting the crew or the airmen on. And then we're pretty much going to be finished up with this one. And then we can start working on the other F-16 as well. Maybe put that one on a stand and maybe put in a light in the back of the engine and make it look like the afterburners on or something. That would look cool. But thanks so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I definitely look forward to your comments on this one. So thanks so much for watching, and thanks. Bye.